He's Rich Eisen. He's the host of NFL Game Day Morning in the Rich Eisen podcast, joining us on the NFL Network. All right, let me dive into a topic I've mentioned, and that has to do with Jamie Duke's comments.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, first of all, I always know when you're going to throw something at me that I might not want to answer.
Yep.
When Todd Fritz calls me 5 seconds before I'm going to go on the air. Like he doesn't want me to ask him, what's Dan going to talk about?
Okay.
As if I'm not watching the show before I go on the air.
All right.
I like what your operation does for you, Dan.
All right.
I respect it.
A preemptive strike?
Well, I'm just, hey, what's Dan going to talk about? Well, he's going to ask you about something outlandish that one of your colleagues said, and see what you have to say about that.
Do you think it was outlandish what Jamie Duke said?
Of course it was.
Okay,
you can't say that sort of stuff. But Jamie is as you said, very likable, great guy. That's the caveat that you say before you say something.
Yes.
It's just, that's the I'm not saying, I'm just saying of what I just said, So, but he shouldn't say something like that. And I think if you ask him right now, he knows that. But when you're on live television and you're in a situation where something provocative is what you're paid to do, sometimes what comes out of your mouth steps over the line, and clearly that stepped over the line.
Yeah, it's a dangerous witch hunt to play, and all of a sudden we're going to single out Manti Te'o and say, you know what, I'm not saying it, but I'm saying that he must have been on something that...
Well, you can't say that because you don't know, and obviously there's no system set up in the league to definitively say that, and even when a system is set up, it may not definitively say that still, and that's what I think this argument is all about, whether either side is right or wrong. Hopefully something does get done on that front. But we are, not to sound naive, but we are in a part of the year where Manti is no longer on the rubber chicken circuit. After the combine, he's got nothing to do but watch everything that goes into his body and work out every day until his pro day, because that 40 was so crucial for him. So if he does look more chiseled now as opposed to back at the combine, it's because he's actually been working at it and doing that every day, instead of going from award place to award place. After the combine, he still went to he picked up an award the following week. Now he's not doing that. All he had to do is just go to whatever speed camp he's at and just focus on getting to that 40-yard dash line faster than he did in Indianapolis. And the crazy thing is, I don't think it has anything to do with his draft stock. He's still going to go at the end of the first round, if not in maybe the middle portion of the end of the first round. And we'll see what he does when he finally hits the field in the fall.
More likely to go in the first round, Manti Te'o or Matt Barkley?
Man, I'll go Manti Te'o. I'll go with Manti Te'o. Although, as you know, it just takes the one.
I know.
And as it's proven every year, Tebow a couple years ago was the perfect proof of that. It just takes one. And you just don't know which quarterback-hungry team is going to go ahead and say, we're going to take this young man and see what he's got. But I'm going to just still think that if the over-under of quarterbacks in the first round is 2, I will still take the 1 with the old Nick Bakay push. For the first round for the quarterbacks.
If you look at these pro days, and normally you can have a good pro day if you're a quarterback. I don't know if Barkley actually had a good pro day because they looked at his arm strength. Was he in shape? They're really, that's when they start to nitpick a little bit here.
Sure.
And also, is Barkley competing against the Barkley of the previous season here?
There's no question. There's no question that he is. And they're looking at all sorts of tape from the previous season. And you had Greg Cosell on earlier this week, and I had him on my podcast this week. He's the preeminent, in many ways, tape eye-in-the-sky expert. And that's just one piece of the puzzle. It's the other pieces of the puzzle that come into the fore, the interviewing, the put some kid on the board, and what can he do when you give him an X's and O's test, and so on and so forth. And the medical, what about his ability to stay healthy? All of that goes into just one spot, and if the coach believes in him and the GM believes in him, then they're going to go ahead and take him in the first round. I just, for some reason, don't see it right now, but there's still time left for the puzzle pieces to get shaken up.
Is Rich Eisen, NFL Network host, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. Also, if you're looking at this Aaron Rodgers contract situation. Why do we have to jump from 20 to 25 million for Aaron Rodgers? What is 21 million okay? Like, at what point does Aaron Rodgers say, man, I don't know, maybe I give back a little bit? Wait, what did Brady do? Flacco didn't do this, and I said it's going to come back and haunt him because people are going to say we're losing all these players because he's not taking less. Whether that's true or not, Brady took less, got credit for it. Here's Rodgers. Looks like he's gonna go A-Rod country here.
Right, and for all of Brady's efforts, his favorite wide receiver is playing for Peyton Manning right now.
Yeah.
So you never know. But these contracts, you have to figure Aaron's going to get at least two more. He's not just going to get this one. He's going to have to get another. So you might as well, and if you're thinking about it, cross another threshold so it doesn't have to get redone again. But I don't know these cap numbers and what they mean, what they figure out to be in the very end of things. But I don't know who's driving it or who's saying let's go to $25 million. But he will definitely be the highest paid player in NFL history by the time the summer hits.
But what happens with Romo, who's going in? He's doing his contract negotiations right now. So what's Romo get if Rodgers goes to 25? Shouldn't we be fair and go to Romo first and then Rodgers gets to announce, not the other way around?
Well, Romo's never won a Super Bowl.
Well, I'm just saying that his salary, it's going to be Rodgers, $25 million. Romo gets $18 million.
Well, I think it's funny that you're seeing all these stories about how the Cowboys have been trying to renegotiate with him for a lower cap number, and then, you find out that they can't franchise tag him because when his contract voids, it'll be the date that it actually voids on is after the time a franchise tag has to be applied. So now you find out that he's probably going to be a free agent if he so chooses, and everybody who likes to carp on Tony Romo, everybody who thinks he's the problem there and he's got too much risk in him and he is the guy who just flushes things down the toilet when the fourth quarter hits, he might be a free agent next year, and we're going to see everybody feed on that frenzy. And you and I both know it, and he knows it too. So I think it's real smart for what he's doing right now. I'm sure the Cowboys don't like it, and it makes them a little bit nervous, but it's just really funny how things turn. And certainly if he has a Flacco-type year, that is what he's banking on, and I think he's playing this beautifully right now.
You had Mike Freeman, CBS Sports, talking about that there is a gay football player who is considering coming out. The speculation, the whisper, the innuendo, how he's going to be accepted, who is it? Is he a prominent name? And I would say, fortunately or unfortunately, I got information 2 days ago about this and the possibility of who the player is, what team he plays on. And I thought that, teammate-wise, I think they'll be fine because now you put a face to a name or a name to a face. And they'll understand. They'll be able to move past this. It's what's going to happen with the fans. But how big is this story now? How big do you think this story gets closer to the start of the season?
Well, I think we in the media will make a big deal out of it. But it's funny how society may not. And I'm curious to see how it does play out because we all know, that there would have to be homosexuals in every major sport, if not on every major sport team. And you could see what the way the world is going on right now. And me personally, I have absolutely no problem with this, and I think it's awful that we're even sort of discussing it. It's like, wow, what a big thing it would be in the locker room, and what will the fans think? Where maybe when it happens, fans will just go, okay, I hope if it's a quarterback, he hits the open receiver. If it's a linebacker, I hope he makes a big stop on third down. When it comes down to it, isn't that what this is all about? And we're just rooting for people to win. And I think that people might just shrug it off. At least that's what I'm hoping.
But do you think if we're going to compare, and it's apples to oranges here, Jackie Robinson crossing the color barrier to play in baseball, where he had teammates who didn't even want him to play. You had people who hated him, death threats, and now you could have an athlete who is a homosexual who could come out. I actually heard and read where people are saying it's tougher for the gay athlete to come out than it was Jackie Robinson to cross the color barrier. And I said, I don't know if you'll have threats, but
I can't imagine.
But you know, you do have
imagine
teammates who, you know, you've already had guys who have said, I wouldn't want a gay teammate. So you're sort of having something like that. But people, you know, you had teammates who hated Jackie Robinson. You had players, the opposition, who wanted to hurt him. You had people who had death threats. And I just said, that was life and death what Jackie Robinson did. And he still became a Hall of Fame baseball player. This athlete better be a very good player. And you know, but I don't know if I can see the comparison with what Jackie Robinson did.
Well, we don't know until it happens, and there may be some crackpot that does something stupid or sends. You know, I'm sure in this day and age, if Jackie Robinson was around with Twitter and things happen in real time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a different world in this respect now, where things are seen by everybody in real time. So hopefully that won't happen. Is all I'm saying. Is that and sometimes society, you know, sometimes sports, and certainly in the case of Jackie Robinson, led society in a certain direction. Maybe things can go the other way around right now for this, where society in a way just shrugs it off. And there will definitely be parts of society that does not. I understand that. But from what is going on in the front page section of the newspaper, perhaps it'll be something like, okay, now what? Maybe that'll happen. Certainly that'll be my reaction to it.
Good luck to your Wolverines tonight.
You know what? I'm nervous, Stan, but I'm feeling great. I haven't been this excited in a long time, and obviously we haven't been to the Sweet 16 since '94. But hopefully we can exercise the demons of the last Michigan team that played in that building, and that Kansas won't be the basketball version of Alabama football. But I'm excited about it.
Keep your head up.
Thank you, DP.
All right. Have a good weekend. Rich Eisen, NFL Network host.